What's good, everybody? It's me. It's Domino. It's been quite a while since our last unit discussion, and there's kind of a lot of units to go through, so let's get started. So, with this most recent update, there we go. Veteran Dragunov has been introduced. She's the special version of Rebellion Dragunov. I don't like. I don't think she's very good. She has no HP skills, so I'm pretty sure the idea they wanted was for her to be only in PM deck so that she can get the HP buffs, but her damage is just too low. Like, it's also explosive except for the close range, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, her goal here is to be long distance, so I mean, you're not going to use her close range really ever. She has evasion that helps keep her alive, but again, the damage is really low for today's standards, and being explosive as well is just like, could you not? I don't think she's worth your time. Yeah, I mean, at least she got a cool portrait. So, you know, that's something. And then next up we got Oa 1. So this is an interesting one. So her initial stats pretty fucking low. For HP, it's only 200k. But she does hit really hard. Her short range is like a stab and thing where she just throws in her wires into an enemy, and her special is probably the main reason you'd want to use her. It is a 1200 distance kinetic wire thing where she just stabs to the closest unit, but she ignores fake walls on the way. So if, you know, for example, if you just kill a gold proto gunner and then she uses her special, she'll ignore where Fio is pushing away the gold proto gunner, and she'll just target the next unit or the base. So that's pretty cool. So her data installation is probably her main gimmick, where every time you send out a new one, it comes out 50% stronger than the last one. It caps out at 5% or at 5. So I guess the end result is that she comes out of this like 2.5 times stronger at all her stats. I'm not sure. I haven't done the math. I haven't asked anybody to do the math, but that's my presumption. It feels very conflicting because at one point, yeah, you can get a really scary unit, but at the other hand, she won't be a scary unit until you throw at least maybe 400 or even 600 AP at her, since, you know, you want more versions of her out. Outside of that, I think she's a pretty handy backliner unit until she runs into the front and explodes. She unfortunately doesn't have evasion, and the first couple of forms are just going to be exploding. Just no way around it. I feel like if you build your deck around her, you can easily get a very strong unit. I've seen Halloween Victoria paired with her, and God, she is just throwing wires out nonstop. But for PM, I think she's a good unit. If you need kinetic, she's a good shot. Yeah, she's a good unit. It's just right now, the HP being so low, I really feel like if once she gets buffs, she's going to be monstrously scary, because that HP starting off at anything even just 500,000 plus, it's going to get crazy, because every form was then just going to get progressively stronger. So 001 is definitely a unit to watch out for, especially in the future when she gets buffs, but for now, I think she's just pretty good for PM. And mixed if you run Halloween Victoria. For last update, we had Special Little Lady Black. I I love Little Lady Black, but I don't like this version of her. That's a Little Lady Shame. Again, as same with Veteran Dragunov, her damage is just too low to really justify using it. They swapped her close range with her special, and in this version is just stun immune. Not stun counter, just stun immune. Her special is probably the only interesting thing about her. She dashes until she dashes to the front line no matter the distance, so that's kind of cool. But she's 255 AP, and that's not cool. So even if you were trying to use it for an early game unit, she's just not worth it. What a shame. There's Lithos. Get on, come on, open your menu. Lithos kind of sounds like shitos. I feel like Lithos was not good. Her short range, for whatever reason, they decided to make it fucking kinetic, or they made it explosive, not kinetic, which really hurt her, and doesn't have a long range. And her special, which is a multi-hitting kinetic that does 69% attack down, that's a thing, sure. And then it ends with an attack that isn't fire, but it's a kinetic shockwave, I guess, and it ignores fake walls. That's okay. But she is a unit with so little range, and her special is too weak for multi-hits to really matter, and it's just gonna trigger evasion without doing any serious damage. I don't know. I feel like she's just not worth your time. She has a suicide attack, in which case the 2 hammer arms go flying, which is like sounds cool, but I mean, do you really just want to send out a 320 AP unit just for the suicide attack? You're better off just using Shooting Ray if you want to do that. Shitos, not, wouldn't do it. And then we got some units that got buffed this update. Oh, there we go. We got Damien. Damien has been buffed. He's got 1.8 million HP now. Close range. The close range is 94k, whatever. Long range does that. The special is 100k, almost 111k, but 101k. I'm sorry. He's a unit that got buffed. Basically, I feel that he's too outdated for the buffs to really matter. In which case, I mean, he has no evasion. He's overtly reliant on his special, and his close range gives him super armor. And he's also relatively fast for some reason. So it's just a combination of the fact that he's fast and his close range gives him super armor that's uncancelable. So you can't even, once he starts doing the attack, you can't cancel it with a special. I feel like that's probably his biggest downfall. It was the same back then. He does stun, which, that's sure, I guess. Nowadays, it's not as mandatory as it once was, but Damien buffs, cool, they're fine. But as a unit himself, I feel like he just doesn't work anymore in how this game is run. Cara. So Cara got buffed, and boy, she got chonky. She got 2.7 million HP. That's really pretty. That's really good for a frontliner. She's still relatively fast. Her snips can basically kill all the weenies now. So for now, 2 weeks from now, Taro, Red Samurai, any of those guys, they get auto sealed. So that's kind of cool. That she does about 25k per every close range since it's 2 snips. Not that great, but it's better than what it was before, where it was just 6k. Now, special's the money shot here. Like, look at that, 372k per tick while she throws at the strings and does the swishes around. That is more than enough to kill base. I personally love Cara. I'm glad that she got buffed. still need to be very careful when you're using her, as since she lacks evasion, she relies on her special and stun counter to keep her around for longer. Honestly, I just love her for taking care of the early game. She's able to seal out some problems, like the PF shield. He just gets eviscerated by her, and then it gets sealed off by her. So that's always cool, as PF shield is here to stay for quite a while. And you know, as before, it's all kinetic. You know, cause PM loves kinetic. It's the only good attribute they keep giving them, apparently. So, if you have Cara, I suggest buffing her, especially at Plat. She is a little monster. She's also a maid, very adorable. I love that. Yeah, she's great buffed. Halloween Simone from a previous update. God damn it, Halloween Simone, same problems as the regular Simone. She sucks. In that, no, she just sucks. I'm sorry. Her range is cool, but unfortunately her bullets track and she shoots very slowly. She shoots very slow bullets. It's kind of a shame because like they could have made her cool, but they chose not to. The HP buffs, I guess, just let her just tank shit forever for a while. Damage is explosive. It can do stun because reasons. Just don't bother with either Simones unless you really just want a stack of them in the back for tanking. I don't know, dude. Don't use her even if the picture is Bunny Girl. And let's see. And then we have Hover Vehicle. Come on, give me the thing. Hover Vehicle's interesting in that it can only do one thing, and that is this close range that does 421k on its own, and that's it. It doesn't have a special, it doesn't have a long range, and it does it on its own. So it's what it does is it flies up, it finds 3 targets to trigger the short range, and then it fucks off. It's got a really good amount of health, it's got amazing production. Even though the movement is 3.95, it does take a while for it to get going, since when it deploys, it starts off at your base and then floats all the way to the top of the screen, and then it starts moving. So that's the only part that's kind of slow. It also does knockback. This unit is very interesting because it can easily kill a lot of units early on. But once fake walls start happening, for example, HMT Dragon, its use really starts falling off as it cannot go past fake walls. Also, you know, since it's a pure aerial unit, 0 evasion, it's just there to eat all the damage. It's very mixed in my opinion. You either build a deck that can supplement it, or it's just gonna fall flat on its face if you try splashing it in. That's kind of all I could say about that. And alright, so on this part we're moving on to since I'm not a time traveler but some of my friends are, we are going to move on to the units that are coming out next week, because I figure with 10 units it's probably the best time to talk about them. So we got Utong here. Oops, sorry. So coming up we got Utong here. So Utong is PM's first fire-oriented unit where her own attacks only do fire. So it's not like a kinetic and then fire, or well, actually, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. There's also Mira, but Mira is such a backliner that it's hard to forget that Mira can do DPS and not just poke base. So Utong is a very tanky frontliner, kind of, where her special would charge her into the front, and she'll throw out 2 big meaty fireballs that do about while they're floating together, they do, I'm not sure how much damage at this moment in time, since I can't test these out myself. She also comes with the Space Daikoka mechanic, where every time she's defeated, she will repair her dragon phoenix cart thingy for about 2 seconds, and then she'll be right back at it. Every time she does that, she feeds about 94 AP, and honestly, I feel like that's not that big of an issue, considering she starts off at almost 2 million HP with some buffs. That's kind of crazy, because what that means is that she forces your opponent to do about 2 million damage every time to get rid of her, and during like a gap. So at this moment, I believe not much is going to be able to like one cycle her, as in, you know, something will take her down to her repair form, and then that same thing will just take her out and while she's repairing it. So for PM, I feel like that's a really good aspect, to have a frontliner that doesn't rely on evasion or stun to be able to hang out, as, you know, MSA damage continues to go up and up, as is the natural course of all things. Her damage is pretty good. I like her special, since it launches out and kind of hits mid-range. It's a pretty good area to hit. She has, you know, she has good resistances, no circles or access to anything, so that's convenient. She also only has 1 HP skill and a 34.5 special attack skill, so she'll benefit from buffs. I like her. I plan on pulling for her, and hopefully, you know, hopefully my I guess theories will come true. And then we got, for our last thing to wrap up, we got Christmas Toa. So Christmas Toa is really similar to Rebellion Toa before she got buffed. She's a little bit cheaper. She's about 30 AP cheaper, so, you know, there's something for you. Starts off with a spawn attack. Her close range is just like is pretty much our Toa's special attack, just lasts a lot shorter. And her special makes her like do a whole bunch of aerial loop-de-loops. It does really poor damage, unfortunately, but it reaches back there, so, you know, that's a thing. I really don't have much opinion on Christmas Toa right now. I mean, she's a Christmas unit, so there's a fair chance that next year she'll get buffed, since they've been buffing all the holiday versions as of late. They haven't buffed any of the Christmas versions, but I would put some good money on that they're gonna buff the Christmas versions of units, since they buffed the summer units, they buffed Halloween units, and so the next holiday is Christmas, so, you know, why wouldn't they? Would I use her? No, I wouldn't use Christmas Toa right now if you have Rebellion Toa. But if you do have, or if you don't have Rebellion Toa, I mean, Christmas Toa is a fair pick. Just doesn't come with an HP buff for your deck. Whoops. And yeah, that's kind of it. Kind of sped through this one. Not too much to say. Taro's gonna die in 2 weeks. That's probably honestly pretty hype. I haven't been doing Metal Arena at all this month. Daylight Savings has kind of really changed my schedule, so a lot of Metal Arena hours haven't worked for me, as well as just the fatigue of Metal Arena from like the last 2 months was just very mentally exhausting for me in the game. So next week I'm gonna start Metal Arena. You guys get to see the start of that journey. So hey, get hype, and that's kind of all I got. Shoutouts to Shad for being able to record for these 2 last units, and I hope everybody stays safe out there. We got COVID still fucking raging here, but holidays coming up, so hopefully can also get you guys a nice Christmas special like I did last year, with nothing but nice lo-fi vibes and Christmassy jams to rock out for 40 minutes. That's all I got. Take care, everybody. Laters.